It's time for the Daily Stand Up Podcast presented by Agile Dad with your host, Lee Henson. Without any further ado, let's get started. I had a student recently ask me what the difference was between estimation and sizing. And I grew curious to figure out why they were asking that question. That question is just not one that normally comes up in a regular standard conversation. And then the person went on to explain, did you know, Lee, that in the Scrum Guide, the 2020 Scrum Guide, that the word estimation was replaced with sizing? Now, let me tell you, I about flew off my chair in excitement. This is big news. I know it might not sound like big news to you, but I want to make sure you understand the impact of what this means. For years, I've said estimation leads people to time based estimates. And anytime you're using a time based estimate or using a number for estimation, you're going to quickly discover that people have different skill sets, different tools, different ideas for definition of ready and done. You're going to discover that people are all over the place and that there's no consistency. And it's just so strange to me that people don't recognize this. And then they'll have their most qualified person do the estimates, they'll have the most qualified person fulfill all the topics. And what winds up happening is, they do all the descriptions, they do all the estimates, but everybody else does the work. So then all the estimates are perfect, but they're perfectly wrong. So sizing to me is so important. It aligns better with focus and goals of the product backlog. It aligns with the way that we manage the Scrum framework. It aligns with the way that teams operate. If we can put a shoe size or a t-shirt size or whatever size you want to use, a dinosaur size, a dog size, I don't care which one you use as long as it's not a number, it's going to empower you to really get a hold of your estimates. I know it sounds crazy. And when I say get a hold of your estimates, it's going to correct your estimates because you're using sizing, and it's going to allow for more accurate forecasts. And I think the big difference to me is that when you use the term estimation, it's a heavy focus on precision. When you use the term sizing, it's a heavy focus on accuracy. And if I can get a team to be 80 to 90% accurate with a lower amount of precision, that is going to be much better for estimating and forecasting than having a team trying to be 100% precise and being so far off the mark that they're just not accurate. And I think that people just don't take the time to distinguish or discern between the two. And the other piece of this, or the piece that most people don't even take into consideration, is that if you're doing estimation, it allows you to have flexibility. It allows you to think outside of the box. It allows you to be flexible with regard to updating. You're not locked in because there's no time adjustments or what did Michael say about this or whatever the case may be, right? It's just, it puts you in a position where you can actively have an initial swag from a product owner and then have the team give their size at release planning. And you have the ability to compare sizes so that you know where to focus your conversations. So there's just so many good things about these type of metrics. It forces you to focus on burn up instead of burn down. It forces you to focus on outcome instead of output. It forces you to trim the tail when you need to and move on to something else. It forces you to be accountable and figure out what fits in a release. There's just so many things that go into this. I mean, I could continue and go on, but I couldn't be more proud of Ken, Jeff, and a team with the Scrum Guide for making this change. This is a topic that I've talked about for years now and said that, my goodness, if there's only one thing that Scrum got wrong, it's this whole time-based estimation in hours at sprint planning, that we needed to go with more of a sizing approach. And I think that this gives everyone more freedom in the way that they plan. It gives organizations more freedom in a sense that they can get to the point where they have some consistency across their teams with regard to sizing, because I mean that works because everyone can agree if something's small in size or scope, and it helps you have consistency in your forecast. So my hope is that people embrace this change, that you'll embrace this change, and that you'll start doing some research and figuring out, because as far as I'm concerned, sizing is the way to go, and it always has been. That's going to do it for this episode. If you have something you want us to talk about, feel free to reach out to us. Learn more at agiledad.com. We would love to hear from you. And as always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care.